Hello. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Please do not adjust your devices, your television screens, your computers, your iPads, your tablets, your cell phones, your laptops. We just had a sound like we had a motorboat just drive by. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. This is episode 141. Kristopher H. Bilbrey. I had my attorney messaged me yesterday or today. Sent me in. What's funny is it's the gold curtains aren't really gold, and the t-shirt is not really orange. It's pink and tan. These lights are amazing. So my attorney messaged me yesterday, and he said, "Hey, we are in the process of filling out what's called interrogatories, which are questions that we ask of the defendant, John Sproles, and his attorneys can ask me questions." And so it's the first step before going through deposition, essentially. And so they ask all these questions, and some of them are pertinent questions. Some of them, they're like, okay, this makes sense. Such as, like, one of the questions they ask is, where all do I post? Where all do I Stumblefoot? Where all do I post our show to? And so that's a question, and we've got to answer that. And they ask a bunch of other questions. Most of the questions they asked seem to be not pertinent to the case, and seem to be not relevant to a defense in any way. It seems to be more of a fishing expedition. So one of the questions they asked was, what's your legal name? And, I, in my daily life, am called one name by literally everybody that knows me. Everybody contacts me, text, messenger, email, calls me, sees me in public, everybody refers to me by one name. Asshole. No, that's a joke. Well, that is what they call me, like, while I'm walking and while I turn away. No, everybody refers to me by my last name, Bilbrey. I've been Bilbrey for my entire life. Bilbrey, just Bilbrey. That's what it is. When I was a really little small kid, it's just Bilbrey. I jokingly, my name is Kristopher Bilbrey. Now, I don't like the long Christopher, but I don't have a problem with Chris. People can call me Chris if you want to call me Chris. I guess that's fine. I used to say I only like my close, intimate people to call me Chris. Like, you know, parents, grandparents, siblings, and things like that. But I prefer, if someone does not know me, for them to call me either Bilbrey or Kristopher Bilbrey. I guess Chris is fine, but I don't like when people call me Chris Bilbrey. I don't like the short first name and the longer last name. I don't like that sounds together. I have an image in my head. Chris Bilbrey is an 8-year-old, fat little 8-year-old kid running around with like kind of like towhead. And I just do not like Chris Bilbrey together. So I generally go by Bilbrey. There are some people who call me Chris, but it's Bilbrey is the majority of what people call me. But when I started doing what I do here, actually, when I went into law enforcement, is when I started actually using the H. I would sign the tickets or I would sign my reports, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. And I've got an amazing signature. I like how my name flows together. It's wonderful. But I just thought that sounded distinguished. Now, the reason that I always think that the Kristopher H. Bilbrey sounds distinguished, I've said this before on here, is because of Harry S. Truman. I always remember the story that Truman didn't have a middle name. Harry Truman, I'm sure it wasn't Harry. What would it be? Harold? Harold, I don't know what his actual legal name is, but he did not have a middle name. And so he thought adding the S made him sound more dignified. And that's what that was. And I always thought that's interesting. So I've always used the H in my name for professional da-da-da-da-da. So in these legal questions, he said, what was your legal name? And for whatever reason, I don't know why I didn't spell it. To me, when you ask me what my legal name is what's on my driver's license. Kristopher H. Bilbrey. So I wrote out Kristopher H. Bilbrey. Well, my attorney, I love him. His name's Gavin Rose. He is like very detailed. So he sends me back a message today that says, I need to know what the H stands for. And then he put ... unless it's a Harry S. Truman thing and the H doesn't stand for anything. And I was like, oh my God, this attorney is like my person. He's my spirit animal. Because like many people don't know that. Like I just love that he did that. So I had to tell him it was Herbert. I'm Herbert. My dad was H. Dwayne Bilbrey. My dad's name was Herbert Dwayne Bilbrey. But he went by Dwayne. Everybody called him Dwayne. But professionally, when he signed checks and such, his name was H. Dwayne Bilbrey. And so that's another reason, as a nod kind of to my dad, I use Kristopher H. Bilbrey. My grandfather is Herbert Bilbrey. He is actually like Harry Truman in the fact that he does not have a middle name. He's just Herbert Bilbrey. No middle initial. And his dad was Orrin Herbert. So the Herbert kind of follows us down a line, and I don't know if it's a blessing and a curse. So that's the thing. Hello, all. I was on Bilbrey time. Hey, Diane, it's okay. Aren't we all? I'm not doing anything other than just gabbing. Nothing serious is happening here as we hurry up and wait. No, so that's interesting. But we are in the interrogatory person. Harry's not short for anything, and the S was given at birth, but only the initial. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it didn't stand for anything. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's just such a weird deal. That's such a weird story. Hubert, yeah, definitely not Hubert, but Hubert.
I looked it up. So the S was to represent two of his grandfathers, whose names both began with S.
Do you know who the grandfathers were?
Solomon was one of them, and I can't remember the other one. It was more than 2 seconds ago that I read it.
That's hilarious.
So it just represents those two.
The two, okay, the two grand. Okay, that's
rather than trying to pick one and get the other one pissed off.
Yeah, right.
The initial they had in common.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all right. That's cool. That's an interesting thing. I just like that the attorney drew back to that story. I was like, hey, I know that story. That's great. That's great. So, yeah, that's a little bit of that nonsense. This part of the political process always, I'm sure I have a form of ADD or ADHD, but I have, at least in my opinion, I've tried to harness it and use it the best that I can. I try to work within its limitations and its ups and downs. You know, I kind of know this about myself. It's not like it's just complete. I've never been diagnosed with ADHD or ADD, but I would assume that I have it. And that's a good one, Mike. You're very true there, sir. I like to be doing something. I like to be doing things. I like for there to be something going on. And a lot of times with what I do, there's so much going on that it's like you can't function. You know, it's drinking from a fire hose. And then in the quiet times, when it's not much happening, it causes me to go almost insane. Sherlock Holmes is quoted often as saying, give me problems, my mind rebels at stagnation. And I'm very much, I can understand that. Like when there's chaos going on and there's something to do and something to dig and something to research and something to investigate, I am more at peace than when it's quiet. In the quiet times, I'm like, oh, it's loud inside my brain. So that's kind of what goes on. Unfortunately, we are right now in that period of time. That's how you get your dopamine fix. Absolutely. You know, that's why a lot of times people do not know that Sir Conan Doyle made, besides Sherlock Holmes being a world-class detective, he was also a drug addict. He was he had a 7% solution. He was kind of into the speedball. He was a mixture. It was a mixture of cocaine and heroin, or sometimes he would go to the opium den. And so that was something. He wasn't a junkie, but that was something that happened frequently when there wasn't problems. And I guess I can, rather understand that. That's interesting. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. We are right now in what's called the challenge period of the political season. And so what that means is, as I kind of talked about last night, the filing period for anybody that wanted to run for local or state office ended last Friday. And now for this next, 5 days, Monday the 12th through Friday the 16th, anyone that wants to file challenges against candidates can do so. And Joey, absolutely. I get it, brother. That's funny. That's funny. And sad and horrible and scary, and I'm glad you're out on the other side of it too. So that's that's there. I'm happy that you're out on the other side. So we're kind of in a hurry up and wait period. Now I'm going to be talking about this evening. Pause. That is really, really, really big. How many years is that? 1,158 days. Joey's been clean 1,158 days. What's 365? Just over 3 years, man. I tell you, what's your date? What's your date, bro? Do you have it? Do you know your date? My first sober day was December 12th, 2020. Wow. I am really, 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 really proud of you. That is awesome. Congratulations to you. I know we've talked about this on here before, but I'll tell that to anybody always. To hell with the politics and everything. That is amazing. I'm happy to hear that, and that is really, really awesome. So Michael Goodman, you stopped smoking weed. I think that might be a detriment. Listen, I'm not a marijuana user by any stretch of the imagination. Not something that I've been around it. That's not something that I'm into. But I certainly don't have a problem.
Only into hallucinogenics.
Into the hallucinogenics. Ooh, yes. You messed up the devil's plan, Joe. You bastard. Yeah, absolutely. Well, very good. Very good. Very good, Joey. That is awesome. I love to hear that. And I know we've talked about that before, but every now and then I like to see you put that on here. So that's very, very cool. I wish I would have known that your date was December 12th. I will mark that down, and we will know that from this point going forward. That's awesome. Okay, going back to the politics for a moment. We're going to be talking about a little bit of what goes into the challenge period. And we're going to talk about that, talk about what goes on after. Okay. So that's cool. The other thing I want to talk about just briefly is giving everybody a little bit of an update on the police action that happened at the corner of Ohio and Jackson Street in Muncie the other day. The other day, remember, we had police action on the corner of Jackson and Ohio. The police were there digging the floor out, and it was a big ordeal. Everyone said, what are they looking for? They're looking for a body. Okay. The interesting thing is, in about a 24-hour period, the Star Press, which literally was blocks from this location, okay, never sent anybody down. To my knowledge, they never sent anybody down. To my knowledge, they never had anyone taking pictures down in the area. Just very strange. Really, really strange. No, I'm not surprised at that myself. So, I sent out some questions to local people because I thought, all right, it's been long enough. We need to know what's going on here. There had been no statement put out by the city of Muncie. There was no statement put out by the prosecutor's office, no statement put out by the police department. And so I was really, really shocked at what was going on. I heard they unearthed a really rare beer can. Yeah, it was a beer can before 1992, apparently. So the day after the digging occurred, they were there metal detecting. That's what Audie said. Audie told me that the other day. They were just metal detecting. I sent out 2 questionnaires. Hey, Kate, I noticed that you didn't put in the short picture. I just sent you the short picture right before we went live.
I put it in before we went live.
Okay, it's not up there.
You pay.
It wasn't in. Oh, it is now? Okay. Okay.
Are you going to deal with putting them up?
Yeah, I'll put them up because I want to see exactly what order I want to get them in.
Come on, I can't let people think that I dropped the ball.
I saw it right before the thing happened, and I was like, "What? There's only 3 pictures there." No, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. So I sent out a questionnaire to the communications director of the city of Muncie. I sent out a questionnaire to the police chief of the city of Muncie, and I sent out the questionnaire to the chief deputy. So the comms director, Michelle Owen, the chief of police, Nate Sloan, and the deputy chief, Melissa Criswell. And this is what that looked like. It basically just says, hello, hi, good morning, you people. I named those people. On February 8th, 2024, the Muncie Police Department Investigation Division, along with the City Street Department and the Sanitary District, started digging the floor out of a small garage located on the northeast side of East Jackson Street and South Ohio Avenue. I would assume, and this was an assumption on my part because I didn't hear otherwise, but it was an assumption that they were serving a search warrant. And that started at approximately 7:30 a.m. and continued for well over 12 hours, with the property being sealed off overnight and the investigation then continuing the next morning. Can the city or the police officials say what this investigation was looking for? Was the search successful? Was the investigation, what investigation is this tied to? Who are the victims? Who are the suspects? Has anyone been arrested as a result of this search? What caused MPD to search this location? Now, while I sent this out, I almost expected the answer to be, we can't tell you any of this. This is still an ongoing investigation. I knew that's what it would be, but it's my job to ask those type of questions. So I sent the question out, as you see, and she sent back this following message. And this is what I got back from the city of Muncie. Hi, Chris. It's been a minute since I've heard from you. The city does not have a statement at this time. So this came to me from Michelle Owen. This came from the comms director of the city of Muncie. I have not heard back from the police chief. I have not heard back from the deputy chief. The police officers, the chief and the deputy chief, they normally put out their own records, their own press release. And it's very unusual for the comms director to respond in that manner. Normally, she would say, thank you for reaching out. You need to get in contact with the police or we're going to let them respond. For her to say, we have no statement at this time, that lets me know something. Okay? It doesn't let, I'll say this, it makes me believe something. It makes me believe that the mayor has been briefed on this situation, at least in some capacity. And the really only reason you would do that is if something went really right or if something went really wrong. Now, it is absolutely purely speculation on my part, but I absolutely believe that that the reason that they would be responding like this could be for the fact that nothing was found. And if nothing was found that leads to anything, that could then have them in a little bit of, the city might be, you know, a little like, now what? Because we went and did this. So, it just seems a little weird. So I'm going to keep pushing there. The other person that I made a message to, and I sent a questionnaire to, was the prosecutor's office. And here is that. And basically, I say the same thing in this. You know, it was to Eric Hoffman, the prosecutor. And I basically sent a more formal records request because the prosecutor's office generally doesn't like to release information, period. Now, the only thing I asked from the prosecutor's office was for a copy of the arrest, or excuse me, of the search warrant affidavit. Okay, so putting my police cap on, all right, if I wanted to go search Joey's house for drugs, all right, this was a drugs arrest, and I was going to go search Joey's house for, he's a kingpin, okay, or Alva and Joey are sending drugs back and forth to each other. So I'm going to go serve a search warrant. Okay. And I send some of the cops to Alva's house and I send some of my team to Joey's house and we serve search warrant. Prior to those search warrants, I would have to go in and I would have to type up what's called a probable cause affidavit, just like getting a search warrant for, you know, an arrest warrant or something like that. I'd have to type up why I want to go knock, knock, knock and bust in the door and tear everything up looking for drugs or looking for a body or whatever. And, you know, there's certain ways you got to do it. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that this is a murder weapon. This is a murder weapon. This is like a little camera stand. Okay. Let's say I use this to bash someone over the head with it. Okay. And this is the murder weapon. I am not going to be able to search for that weapon in this bag because this weapon does not fit in this bag. Okay. So when you go search, for, say, a weapon like this in a house, or something that big, you can only search the places where this could fit. Now, this could fit a lot of places: your refrigerator, you know, all the drawers in the house, under the bed, in the attic. But I couldn't just tear into this bag because this is not going to fit in this bag. So that would be, you know, fruit of the poisonous tree when you start doing that kind of crazy stuff. All right. So you got to be pretty specific why you think you're searching the place and doing all of that. All right. And so I requested this, and it's something that I've requested for before from various places. Okay. Alpha. Yes, this is hypothetically speaking here. So I requested the search warrant affidavit, and I requested the search warrant return. When the police go search someone's house and they're searching for this item and they find it laying on the table, when they seize it and take it to evidence, they then have to tell the judge who signed the warrant, hey, we seized this. We've seized what we were looking for. Now, let's say they found a hypodermic needle full of a substance that appeared to be heroin, and it tested positive, field tested for heroin, and they saw that out in the plain area. They could seize that as well. Let's say they you know, took other items, whatever they took, very similar to what they took from Elvante Riddick's search warrant. Matter of fact, I went through the probable cause affidavit of that warrant with you guys, and I went through the search warrant return with you guys. I requested the search warrant affidavit and the return from the Henry County government, and they provided it for me. I've asked of this before, okay? I sent that request to the prosecutor's office, and I have to say, I have a pretty good working relationship with the prosecutor's office. I've had a pretty good working relationship with them for several years. And so I sent this off to Eric, Prosecutor Hoffman, the elected prosecutor, and I asked for the affidavit, and I asked for the return, and this is what Eric sent back to me. Good afternoon. Thank you for your request for public records. Generally speaking, in the interest of transparency, the prosecutor's office leans in favor of releasing records where the law allows. Now, I have to absolutely say, since Eric has been prosecutor, Eric's office has done a fantastic job at releasing records, at releasing press releases. They have done a fantastic job. I have no complaints with Eric's office as far as that goes. All right. So I agree with his statement there, that they have been very good with that. He goes on and he says, on February 8th, 2023, acting on information recently gathered from an investigation, detectives with the Muncie Police Department executed a search warrant at the premises of 116 South Ohio Avenue, Muncie, Indiana. Detectives spent multiple hours on the scene pursuant to Rule 5A5 of Indiana's Rules on Access to Court Records. The affidavit of probable cause for issuance of the warrant and the search warrant itself is confidential and excluded from public access. More specifically, the rule, can we take down Stumblefoot's thing real quick? Please and thank you, thank you, thank you. More specifically, the rule provides the following shall be excluded from public access, and no notice of exclusion from public access is required. 5, entire cases that exclusively pertain to investigative requests and processes unrelated to pending criminal proceedings, including but not limited to search warrants, subpoenas, testimony, essentially subpoena ducis tecums, are not requestable. Okay. Moreover, the documents you seek are investigatory records of a law enforcement agency. The Muncie Police Department and the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office are law enforcement agencies. The APRA affords discretion to public agencies when deciding whether to release such records. Specifically, Indiana Code 514.3.4b1 accepts from disclosure at discretion of the public agency. I'm trying to read close. Investigatory records of law enforcement agencies. The matter at issue pertains to an ongoing investigation. Therefore, after consideration the applicable law and the facts, in consideration of the applicable law and facts, I have decided to deny your request. Professionally, Eric M. Hoffman. So, in other words, we're not going to get diddly squat when it comes to the search warrant that was served at 116 South Ohio Street. That means absolutely nothing. Essentially, what that means is they're still working and they may or may not find something. If they find, here's what it means. Stumblefoot. That's hilarious. Woo, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. So, not all of them. I will tell you, I have a pretty decent relationship with Prosecutor Hoffman. And Michelle and I have my requests from Shireen Wigley are not nice. I think they type them out with their feet and they send me the same ones you get. It's not. It just depends on who's giving me the return, I guess. That's funny, Stumblefoot. So basically, where we stand on this is we still don't know. We don't know, and that's okay. There are aspects of these things that it's okay that we don't know until a later date when something happens. If someone was being held for something, that would be a problem, and we would have to know something, and they would have to let us know certain aspects of that. Right now, no one's being held. Nobody's freedom is, taken from them. And right now, it's still an investigation underway. So I'm perfectly okay with these answers. I'm sure the people who are connected to that property probably aren't as happy. Okay. They probably are like, we want to know what's going on, and we're pissed off. I hate that for them. Hopefully the people who currently own it are also victims in this matter. I don't know. Catherine, I I have not looked at my email yet. When I get off the live, I will look. I think that I probably did. I know that I got a response back from Henry County, and I know that I'm pretty sure that I did. I'll have to look and see. I talked to Madison County yesterday, and they were in the process of getting them ready for me. So I know that they were getting them ready. I just don't know if I have them yet or not, but I will have them, and I will have them. We're getting ready to get into the political side of everything, and I'll kind of talk to you about that here in a second. I will have them in plenty of time to look through them to decide on challenges or not. So I'll keep you posted on that here in just a moment. But just getting back to this, I just want to let everybody know, because I'm getting a lot of people that are asking me, hey, do we know what's going on with where they dig? Why aren't you reporting on what's going on there? Why aren't you reporting on? There's nothing to report yet. No one's been arrested. I don't know the name of any victims. I don't know who they're looking for. Everybody and their brother keeps saying, oh, it's got to do with Ashley Morris. It's got to do with Ashley Morris. I keep saying it. Keep her name out there. Keep Ashley's name out in the population. But I'm letting you know that what happened at Ohio Avenue has nothing to do with Ashley Morris. Talk about Ashley. Talk about the fact that she's missing. Talk about getting her name out there, and ask people to think back, and if they have any information, to contact Don, to contact the sheriff's department, and to let them know what's going on, because that is still an active missing case, and they're still working that as well. And Don and his family deserve answers. They truly, truly do. But just so there's no confusion, what's going on at Ohio Street has nothing to do, at least with the disappearance with Ashley. At this investigation, I guess I should say, just so everyone's sure what's happening there. All right, that's what's going on. So I just want to make sure that everybody's aware. Okay, going on from there. Getting back into the politics of everything, okay? We all know that is some concrete got removed for free. All we know is that some concrete got removed for free. Yeah, speaking of some concrete that got removed, it wasn't for free. We have to turn our attention to Workman's Bar, where they removed even more concrete, and it wasn't for free. Matter of fact, I hope they'll be talking about that tomorrow at the Board of Works, and it'll be interesting to hear what they'll be talking about, how much that's going to end up costing us, and, all of the nonsense related to the crisis center. That's a big, big, big ordeal. But there again we go, is what you get when you reelect Dan Ridenour to be your mayor for another 4 years, when his first 4 years, he broke all the promises. Promises made, promises broke. That's just the way it goes, okay? That's just the way it goes. Damn nonsense, crony capitalist Dan. I love it. I love Genghis Khan. What a name. What a name. Who put the concrete in? I don't know. I know that there were people there saying that they thought that the concrete went into that building in 1995 or before, 92, 95. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's like a concrete crisis, one thing after another. Like, what is going on? Okay. All right. Now on to the political side of things. We're in the hurry up and wait period of politics, folks. The challenge period for this 2024 primary election ends at noon, 12 p.m. on Friday the 16th. That's this coming Friday. So today's Monday. Today's gone. Tomorrow's Tuesday. All right, there will be an 8-hour window that people could file challenges between whatever time the clerk's office opens and whatever time they close. And then Wednesday, and then Thursday, and then Friday when they open until noon. Okay? Julie. I want to say this. Yeah, you're right. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Okay. Wow. Wow. You're right. Today was Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. So all day Wednesday, all day Thursday, and then Friday. Man, we are chugging right along, folks. I missed a whole day. I missed a whole day. So here's the deal. You're right. I'm glad you guys called me on that. I guess I didn't think yesterday was the day. It's okay. I thought it was Monday too. Holy crap. Bree thought it was Monday. I thought it was Tuesday. We're all kinds of messed up in here this evening. So I know, man. It's been a day. I want to say this. Oh no, I'll get them. I'm pretty sure I've got them already. I just haven't got in my email. I know that I got the response back from Henry County, and I'm pretty sure that the lady sent them back to me today. I'm pretty sure that she sent them back to me this afternoon. I just haven't been in my email since earlier. So anyways, basically what happens at this point is it's like this is kind of where it becomes a chess game. I called the clerk's office in Delaware County because I wanted to make sure that they would not be allowing anyone to come in and change anything from this point forward. And the clerk said, oh no, absolutely not. We will not be allowing that. And I said, okay, well, that's good, because I have found some errors in the paperwork on both sides of things. I've found some errors on people who are like outsiders, and I found errors on people who are party officials. So what that means, ladies and gentlemen, and right now I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to say who, what, where, when, or why. I'm going to wait until the period comes, because I wanted them to know that we already know. We know. I figured that's I figured that's what you were. I figured that's who you were, GC. I figured that's where you were going with that. So I am prepared to challenge people if they want to play games. I will tell you, they must, you know how the small-minded people like Ben Polk and Mike Jones and a few people are like, Bilbrey talks to 6 people in his underwear in his basement. Nobody cares. No one listens to him. Well, they might want to tell that to the clerk's office and to the leadership of the Republican Party, because there are more candidates that have amended paperwork this year than any other time I've ever seen. So what that means is sometime, oh, Dave, they've been listening for years. They've been listening since 2017, 2018 at least. That's just what they like to pretend. They say, you know, when something really bothers you and scares you, you say, oh, that don't bother me and scare me. And that's how everybody knows. So we know that they listen because last year I told them, if this is the game you want to play, be prepared, because I'm going to challenge you on everything, next year. Well, listen, this is next year. Here we are. And I can tell you that they are afraid that that was going to happen, because literally everybody went in and then was called back or did something, and they amended their paperwork. And so what that means is, when the filing period opened up in January on like Wednesday the 10th, someone could have went in and filed on the 15th of January. They file their paperwork, they take their paperwork in, they give it to the clerk does their thing, gives them a copy, they go home. Then the clerk calls them and says, oh, you need to get in here and fix your paperwork. So the person then goes back in, and instead of just making changes on that paperwork, instead of just doing that, they give them a whole new grouping of paperwork. They let them put their name on it and refill it out, and then they return it in. Now, they've got 2 copies of paperwork. They got the original paperwork and they've got the new paperwork. So what they have to do is they have to write amended on the second copy. Now they've got 2 copies of paperwork. Do you know how many people had new copies of paperwork? All of them. James King did. Brad Bookout did. Polk did. Well, I think Whitehead did. Lots of people. Lots of them. Okay? Piper did. They all did, bro. You want me to tell you? Now let me tell you. All right? It's not a problem if that happens. That's okay. All right? Ryan Webb had an amended paperwork, but I'm going to tell you why. Because there was a little thing that he himself needed to correct, and when he went in to do that, in all of the commotion, they gave him the wrong paperwork to mark out. So he did that, and then when he realized that, he needed to go in and recorrect it. So it was like their error. No harm, no foul. It's legal. And he turned his paperwork's golden. You want me to tell you why his paperwork's golden? Because he's not an idiot. Okay? It's simple. You'll learn it in 3rd grade, folks. Read the instructions. Complete the paperwork the way that it says. Troy Ingram's paperwork is okay. It's not going to be questioned. because he did it all properly. Let me ask you, Catherine, did you have any problem reading the words on your paperwork? Listen, at the end of the day, people make mistakes. It was confusing, let me tell you. And with no amendments, it was confusing. And let me tell you, Catherine, it's purposefully done. And I'm gonna say this. Last year, okay, and listen to this. Last year, I polled all of the candidates in Muncie, and 29 out of 30 had errors. I polled people from Randolph County, they had errors. I polled people, I think I looked at some from Madison County. I think Anderson, they had errors. I think we looked at some from Newcastle, maybe. I was talking to Rob Kendall about this. I checked in Marion County, and there were some errors there. I called the Secretary of State's office, and I talked to the legal counsel, and I talked with Diego's personal assistant in the office. And I said, listen to me. This is not the case the CAF, you mean the CFA1 or the CA? Because I don't know what the CFA11 is. I mean, I think maybe you mean the CFA1. The paperwork you should have turned in is the following: the CAN 2, the CAN 12, and the CFA 1. Oh. You don't, okay. I can help you with that. You shouldn't have a trouble with that. There shouldn't be any issue with that. That shouldn't be a thing. I'll help you with that. Yeah, Kate can help you with it. We can definitely get you help. It's no issue. You'll be fine. It's once you do it, those are easy. That's actually easier than the actual paperwork. No sweat there. You'll be fine. She's talking about the CFA 1 is the committee report. She's talking about the large donation. The other thing is, hold off on that. I'll call you tomorrow and I'll talk to you. I need to talk to you about that and give you some advice. I'll help you with that. I'll call you tomorrow, Catherine, and help you walk you through that. It's pretty easy, and the point is they make this stuff as hard. I promise you don't. Well, will you be up tonight when I'm off? If I can call you tonight, I'll call you tonight when I'm done. I just don't want to bother you. So that's right, Karen. Karen said, who created the process? Have them conduct a class. Well, that would be the geniuses at the Indiana State House and the Secretary of State's office and all of these people. It really should not be this hard. You should put your name down, put your address down, Put your telephone number, your email address, your date of birth. You should put what office you want. You should put if you're a Republican, a Democrat, a Libertarian, Independent, whatever you are, Green Party, right there. You should put the name of your committee, who's on your team. You should disclose your economic disclosure form. Boom, bang, pow, it's done. Make it one freaking document. They don't need to make it this hard. Don't call Russ. Listen, call Russ to a fire if you're inviting him inside. I could do a YouTube video. Man, you know what I need to do? What we need to do? Here's the thing, they change them every year. Audie, you gave me a great idea. What I need to do from now on is in December of each year, I need to do videos on turning. I need to do a video on how to fill out the CFA1 for candidates that are returning and for people that are doing it for the first time. I need to do it a Can 2 for candidates that are returning and candidates for the first time. Do a Can 12. I could fill out how to do your financial aid, your campaign finance paperwork. Absolutely. Well, you know what I could do? I could put them on here as private and put them in the member section. You should absolutely do that. All that free time you have, that you would be able to utilize it and do something good for the candidates. I'm going to come down there and strangle you, Alva. I've got no free time. I'm trying to find time. But, you know, I could, here's the thing, I could put it behind a paywall and give it to the people that I wanted to and charge the people that I didn't. People could pay if they wanted to see it, or I could put it out. You know, look, at the end of the day, I'll be honest. I don't want to take people out with stupid errors. I don't want to beat James King because he's too stupid to spell king. I want to beat James King oh, God. I remember, Audie. Good Lord. That's like me saying, Alva, you remember that time I told you your name was Alva? Oh, God. James Queen. I don't like the idea of the election board kicking people off at an election board meeting because an I's not dotted, a T's not crossed, or somebody forgets they're not in Pulaski County. I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of scrivener errors causing people to get booted off the ballot. That's not what this was about. The challenge period was for people like Lisa Friend that are trying to get on the ballot when they live in Montana and they're running for office in Winchester, Indiana. That's what the challenge process was for. Yeah, you're right. It gives the party too much damn control. It's not right. It is not right. But it would be a good idea. It would be a good idea to, I would, if they were a total dumbass, give me that pencil and I'll whip it up. Well, we are absolutely going to give them the treatment. Oh yeah. Now look, I told them that. Everybody, I told them that last year. When they did that nonsense against Troy, I said, you have the ability to withdraw this challenge. I also told them they had the ability to kick Belinda Munson off the ballot because she was in the wrong. Look, if you have to fill out the CAN 12, the economic disclosure sheet, and you were like, no, I'm not going to do it, and you don't do it, you shouldn't have a place on the ballot. If you're trying to hide things from the public on the very first act as a candidate, we've got no room for you here. We don't want you to win. We don't want you to try to win. We want you to try and get lost. But all of this that we're talking about, nothing happens until Friday at noon. So, because of that, I've got to decide how we're going to play this. I want you guys to know that when I say we, I mean myself and those of us here at the Political Spotlight and the folks that we interact with. Our goal here is to make sure that we are attempting to better the government through our citizen involvement. And if that means making an example out of folks, listen, I want them to say, we're not pushing on you. Please don't push on us. Because what I was really afraid of was that we would show up and that there would be, I would have the information that I was given Monday, and it would show someone had an error on the paperwork, and we'd get there, and lo and behold, they wouldn't have an error on the paperwork. Wait, what? Well, that wouldn't be any good, and I would lose my mind. That's why I called Rick, and I said, I need to know, can you challenge? Can you change your ballot or change the documents now? And he said, nope. I said, okay, I want to make sure that's good for everybody. Now, the other thing, like Audie's bringing up, hell, there were errors on the challenge paperwork. They literally were saying, we want to challenge these candidates because they had errors on their paperwork, but the people that were challenging them had errors. And it's like, what in the absolute hell is going on here? What is happening? It's ludicrous. And unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do today, tonight. There's nothing that we can do tomorrow. There's nothing that we can do Thursday. And we've got until noon on Friday. So it's going to be a long next couple of days, but we will manage to get through it, and we will do, what we have to do. And I want the party to be smart with their actions, because this costs Delaware County money. This costs Delaware County money. When they act a fool and do all of this, they're costing Delaware County money. If it's a fixable error, they should just let people fix them. No question. Okay, good question there, John. So, between Monday, which was yesterday, and noon on Friday, that 5-day window, there are hey Kate.
Yes.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna send you a challenge. I'm gonna send you a CFA, a can
Whatever it
one.
is.
Yeah,
Okay.
give me a second.
So we had kind of gone through the challenge process last year because they were challenging so many people to get them off the ballots.
Yeah.
So is this one of those that we'll be looking at as last year's?
This is just a blank form.
Okay. All right. Well, I will go and get that up for you here.
Thank you, ma'am. Challenges should be for issues that aren't fixable. Residents, criminal record, not filling out the report, something like that. Absolutely. No question. No question. It should not be for you spelled a word wrong. You got something, you missed a date by a day. Filing deadline. That is a legitimate reason to definitely there would be people who would say that. Absolutely. Kate, whenever you get that put up, if you could pop that up on the screen just whenever. There we go. She's got it up on the screen. So essentially, what this challenge paperwork looks like is here. And we'll go through all of this basically as we get closer. But what this says is essentially, it says, I fill in the blank. I can't see it the way I thought I was going to be able to. We'll have to go over it. I'll have to go home one of these nights and do it live from there where I can blow it up. Essentially, you fill in this form, okay, and you have to be a voter living in the same district, the same area. So for like instance, someone running for sheriff or for someone running for Delaware County Commissioner, where you basically you get a vote countywide. Anybody that votes in the county gets to possibly challenge a candidate, one of the commissioner candidates. Same goes for council at large. In a district race, however, It is just the people that live in that district. Okay, that's what you got to know there. So that's what that is. Now, here's the thing. When someone files that paper, they stamp it, and after they get any challenges that come in, the election board then sets a hearing date. And at that, they notify the candidate that's been challenged, or the county chair. The county chair can also challenge. The county chair's a candidate or a voter in the area can challenge. Once they get, let's say there's 2 candidates that are challenged. Once those 2 candidates once the challenge comes in, the election board notifies those 2 candidates, and they notify the people that challenged them. They set a hearing. I will be coming to Madison County no matter who gets challenged. If you guys have a election board meeting in which someone is challenged, I will be there. I generally go to every election board meeting where they handle any challenges in Delaware, in Randolph, in Henry, in Madison. I generally go to those. Matter of fact, you can go back on my wall and see the one from last year, the one from 2 years ago in Madison County. I was there. Anyhow, and also then the one down at the State House. Well, specifically, Alva, no. So in Delaware County, I will be able to challenge anybody that I would want challenged, as long as it's county-wide, because I live in Delaware County. Now, if there are people that I would want challenged in Madison County, yes, I would have to find somebody to challenge them. Or if I find problems in Randolph County or Henry County, I would have to find people to challenge them if they would want them challenged. But as far as my community in Delaware County, I would have to challenge them, or, I've got people who will, volunteer to do it. Anyone that fits that criteria can do it. Now, what it takes is you would have to be able to, I would help whoever fill out the paperwork, if that's how we choose to go. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of nuance to this. Okay. So we'll have to wait to see what happens. I'm just letting them know, it would be a good start if the party said, this year we're not going to play games. Okay. So that's that. Okay. Moving on, when they have that hearing, and we can play maybe in the next couple days, depending on when they set a hearing, I can go back and show you. But what they do is they have the hearing, and it's the election board. And again, the election board are set up, and they're made of one Republican, one Democrat, and the county clerk. So if the county clerk is a Democrat, you've got 2 Democrats and a Republican. If the county clerk is a Republican, you've got 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat. Okay, just depends on what goes on there. Okay, if that happens, when we go in there, they have the person who makes the challenge come up and they testify. They get to read the challenge. They go through that. Then they have the candidate come forward and present their case, and they go back and forth. And then the election board votes. The 3-person election board votes to basically what they do is they vote to uphold the challenge and kick the person off the ballot, or they vote to deny the challenge and keep the person on the ballot. And then that's what happens. Now, for the Delaware County Election Board meeting, I will be there. I will record it. We'll have information, and we'll be able to put that forward. For the Madison County, the same, Henry County, we'll get you guys that information because they're very, very, very important. They're very important. Okay. Because these meetings are very serious. They essentially can decide an election at these meetings. And it's very scary. Now, Julie asked me, I think she said, how do you know all of this? I know all of this just simply by being a part of the process for so long. This stuff is very convoluted. This stuff is not, it's not easy. They purposefully make this stuff hard. There are things that I don't know. There are things that I need help on. I'm not the end-all, be-all. I have an amazing team around me. Kate's great. Brandon's great. He might be gay. I don't know. Is he gay? I don't think he's gay. Did I say gay? Did I say great? Kate is great. That's what messed me up. Kate's great. Brandon's great. The paper wench is great. We've got a great group of people around us that help us. I have other people. Audie's great. Catherine's great. You know, I've got so many people that I can lean on for various things.
If you leave Sarah out, she may hunt you down.
You're muted.
I'm
yeah,
muted.
Sarah's great. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But did I say Brandon's gay? Kate's great. Brandon's gay.
You did.
Niles is great.
Niles might be gay, though. I'm not sure.
Niles might be gay. No. Brandon and Niles, I don't know about them.
I'm pretty sure that the 5 kids would put the line to that statement, but you know.
Oh, God, I can't believe it. Gay Brandon. I just remembered when he said, Skittles. Kate, do you remember that? Skittles. I watched that the other day. It's oh man, what amazing. Just saying Niles 5 kids, that's one hell of a cover. It is, he's very committed to the cover. That's not just a beard, that's a beard, mustache, and a whole haircut. That's hilarious. So yeah, that's kind of what goes on. And I don't know if it was, I think it was Kate that said, there's no appeals process to this. If someone is kicked off the ballot at one of these election board meetings, they can only appeal by going through court. They can go to court and maybe get something overturned. Very similar to how Troy Ingram tried to do. It's very, very, very hard to do that. If someone is not kicked off and the person challenging thinks that, hey, something didn't happen right here, that challenger can take them to court, very similar to how Audie and I did. And that, again, is a very tough burden to very, very, very hard and high burden to hit and to overcome. Brennan might have turned gay for his birthday month. That is a very good possibility. I haven't seen him in a while. He left me a message tonight, but I haven't got it yet. So I'll have to let you guys know how he sounds tomorrow. I tell you, and it's not just the local county chairs. 2 years ago, yeah, it was 2 years ago, I went down to the state house and I watched them kick loads of people off the ballot. We were down there for like 7 hours. It was a long, long ordeal. It was a 5 or 6 person, 7 person, maybe a 9 person panel. It was an odd number. So it was like 5, 7, or 9. I think it was 7 or 9. And they had state representatives and state senators. They had candidates, Republicans and Democrats, challengers that were wanting to take on the establishment. And that was when they put that 2 primary rule in place, and it threw a lot of people off the ballot. Now, thank God that that currently is not in place. Thank God that that is currently out the window because of John Rust and his lawsuit. Now, I want to tell you, I am getting loads and loads of information from people that are saying that dude is a Democrat as long as the day is as long as the day is long, as short as the day is long. I don't know how you say that thing. People are telling me left and right that John Rust is a Democrat. Okay, listen, I wasn't 100% sold on everything that he said during our interview. And I have a lot of investigation into him and what he's saying and doing that I need to look at before I decide if he's somebody that I support fully or not. However, that aside, I'll decide if I want to support him in the election or not when that time comes. I do, however, care about what goes on in this case. And I will tell you, as soon as I started talking about him, I was going through it and I was remembering the date, and I'm telling you, not being in the studio is throwing me out. It's throwing me off, and it's my sleep is off. Everything is way off. But you're absolutely right, Kate. Can you find anything on that? I'm kind of up a creek right now because I don't have a way to look. But can you look and see if there's anything that says what's happened? Because I do believe that they were supposed to hear from that yesterday. Yeah, the 12th. I was going to try to go down there. I am on grandma time. You are absolutely right. Braun isn't much better. No, I'm not a Braun guy. I don't know. And Connie's not, we're in trouble in a lot of ways as far as the governor goes. Well, I'll wait. I'll wait to tell you exactly who. Let me see here. No, that's not the thing. Hold on, damn it. That wasn't what I wanted to do. Okay, so I don't know if oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Alva. That is yeah, I agree with that 100%, Alva.
So I'm looking in my case at it, and the last I see anything on is on January the 24th. This is the last notation in this, that the briefs were transmitted to the court on the 24th.
Yeah, but did it say that they had a hearing today?
No, doesn't say anything about a hearing.
Okay, so there was nothing that was saying that they were set for a hearing?
So there's just the original order. Order issued. Appellate's briefs shall be due on or before January 19th. Supreme Court will hear the oral argument on this matter on February the 12th at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And then that was on December 15th. And then notice of appeal filed, blah, 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 blah. Acknowledgement of order setting argument. Some motions to appear as amicus curiae.
Yeah.
And some motions granting those. Some documents. The women voters of Indiana in support of affirmance, pending ruling on motion and tenderance of appearance, blah, blah, blah. Another motion to appear as amicus curiae, a bunch of those. And trial clerk notified to transmit the transcript, but that was on January 23rd.
The state asked for it to be ruled on by February 15th. Get out of there if you can, and just Google.
Just Google.
just Google Rust case.
The Rust.
Someone literally just texted me that the state
oral arguments for Rust heard. Cancel. Oh my God, got pop-ups coming up. Reading, skimming. I don't want to read this whole stinking article.
No, can you just
share it? Oh,
share it like in the group just so we can see it. Or not in the group, but
share screen. Share. And add that up here for you.
Oral arguments heard for oral arguments for Rust case heard by Supreme Court. Can you blow that up a little bit more? Okay. Rust filed a lawsuit in September against Jackson County Republican Party chairwoman. The law states, we know what the law states. In December, Marion County Superior Court Judge Patrick J. Dietrich, which was awesome, said blah, blah, blah. Okay, we know what he said. The day after Rust's injunction was granted, the Indiana Attorney General's office filed a notice of appeal. On Monday morning, Benjamin Jones served as the attorney for the state, while Michelle Harder served as Rust's attorney. Jones said governments must substantially regulate elections in order to ensure they are free. What? We must substantially regulate I must lock you down to ensure your freedom. I must regulate you to death. He said, free, fair, and honest. He said reasonable and non-discriminatory regulations. Okay, who bases what reasonable is, okay, are required and justified by the state's regulatory interest in elections. Jones also said each of the 6 reasons the trial court cited for striking down the statute are as unconstitutional was wrong. Well, of course. Justice Jeffrey G. Slaughter asked Jones why a county chair should have the authority to accept or decline a candidate for a statewide legislative office as opposed to a state chair. Okay. Jones said the local party chair is the person best positioned to know their bona fides and know if a person is sufficiently aligned with the party. This is going to piss me off. Jones also said a recognized proposition of federal law is states can act and have a compelling interest. Okay, there we go. Whoops. Yeah. Keep on going down there. Okay, right here. Yeah. Compelling interest in allowing parties to self-identify, self-define, and include and exclude whom they decide. Okay, then they should be responsible for doing their own damn primaries and not having the state pay for them. Chief Justice Loretta Rush asked Jones if Rust would have a meaningful alternative if he could not run as a Republican in the primary, to which Jones said Rust could still run as an independent or a write-in candidate in the general election. But if anybody thinks that is a reasonable alternative, they are screwed in the head. Okay? Rush questioned Jones on his answer, noting Indiana law requires independent candidates to not have any party affiliation. Justice Kristopher M. Goff said it would cost Rust money to not run as a Republican, noting there's value associated with having an R next to statewide candidate's name in Indiana. Goff then asked Jones what interest the affiliation state statute protects. Jones said the state has a compelling interest in allowing parties to exercise associational rights. He also noted the Supreme Court case in which it was asserted candidates cannot force themselves upon a political party by citing the First Amendment. I don't know what that would be. Harder opened her statement by saying it's the voters' job, not the state's job, to elect candidates. And while precedent allows the state to control the time, place, and manner of elections, it does not allow the state to choose who is on the ballot. Harder said the state has no interest in protecting political party from itself, and a political party cannot evoke powers of the state to ensure control over its members and supporters. Harder also said the U.S. Supreme Court has never upheld a ballot access restriction of greater than 1 year. Oh, this doesn't sound good for the bad guys, meaning the state. Justice Mark Mason asked Harder why it's unconstitutional for voting in the previous two primaries to be a candidacy requirement, noting
Kristopher, I think we've lost him. Hopefully he just blinks out here and comes back, but we'll pick up where he was talking. He said why it's unconstitutional for voting in the previous two primaries to be a candidacy requirement, noting primary elections are not mandated by the U.S. Constitution. Massa then described a hypothetical situation in which the Indiana General Assembly does away with the primaries and instead chooses candidates at a convention made up of party loyalists. Massa said in this hypothetical situation, the Indiana General Assembly could turn Rust away. Harder agreed with Moss's thoughts, but also said the majority of Hoosiers would not meet even one primary requirement on a good turnout year. She also said the First Amendment allows for freedom of association, to which Moss said association implies mutual consent. Harder said an election is where to resolve whether a candidate is truly affiliated with a party. Justice Derek R. Moulter then asked Harder if Russ could have voted in the 2023 primary election in Seymour. Harder said Russ could not have because he does not live within city limits. Massa again asked Harder why the affiliation statute is unconstitutional, and also asked if it would be unconstitutional to require candidates to have voted in only the most recent primary, to which Harder said she was not sure. Massa asked what Indiana's objective primary voting criteria should be replaced with, and Harder suggested replacing it with the petitioning requirements of New Jersey, her home state. In New Jersey, a candidate wanting to get on the ballot for U.S. Senate must gather 1,000 signatures of registered voted, and then that candidate signs an affiliation attestation. Harder concluded her statements by saying there is no harm done to the state if Rust is on the Republican ballot. She said if he loses, the Republican Party will have rejected him. If he wins, he will have party affiliation. Rust then asked Harder to clarify the fact Rust was told Lowry would not certify anyone who did not meet the voting requirement, and therefore Rust could not appeal her decision. Harder said the rules of the affiliation statute were vague and would continue to be interpreted differently by party chairs statewide. In his rebuttal, Jones said the Indiana Supreme Court was never held that a disagreement about a statute passed by the Indiana General Assembly has authorized the dismissal of it. Criticism we heard from both the trial court and from Mr. Russ about the way the party is exercising is actually the very purpose of the affiliation statute, which is to allow the party to make its own determination on who it is going to certify as a member, Jones said. Elections are for the people to decide, Russ said again outside the courtroom. In court briefs, the states garnered support from the Indiana Republican Party. Oh, really? That's shocking. The Republican Party would support them. While Rust has received backing from Common Cause Indiana and the League of Women Voters of Indiana. The justices did not say when an opinion will come down, but the court is likely to rule quickly. The Indiana primary will take place on May 7th, and absentee ballots must be sent to the voters who have previously filed an approved application by March 23rd. Even sooner is the deadline to challenge a candidate who filed to run in the May 2024 primary at noon on Friday. So, riveting stuff. And Kristopher fell out on us. So I'm sorry you're stuck with me and going to miss Kristopher's commentary on the article. But since he is not popping back on, I guess we'll leave it there for now. And we'll let you all go. And we will see you all back here tomorrow night at 9 p.m. I have no idea what he's going to be talking about tomorrow, but it's great to see you all. I hope you all have a very good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.